Do you want a sweaty Apex Legends banner setup? I mean, taking it from something that looks like this to something more like this, or even this. Well, I'm gonna give you the rundown on exactly how to do that and get the sweatiest legend banners possible. So I actually made a video like this a few years ago, and it was the first ever video to gain any traction and grow my community, but it's a bit outdated, so I'm just making a remake, and it should be a lot better. Okay, starting off, you can choose whatever legend you like. I'm gonna start with Wraith for this example. So I choose Wraith, and then you want to choose your skin. Again, you can choose whatever skin you like. Really, whatever skin you think looks the best and stands out to you. There's so many different ones to choose from. It's just whatever you have, what you can work with. For me, I'm going to use Street Smart because first off, I just love the look of the skin. I think it's one of the best skins in the game. And then the other thing you could do is choose the skin that matches your color theme. So for example, I am using Street Smart because it's red. And I'm going for an all red color setup. It's not necessary, but if you do want to have that one extra step above, go for a skin that matches your color setup. Now that we chose our skin, we want to go over to banners. So the first thing I want to talk about actually is your color setup. So you can go for any sort of color theme you want. So I have all red here. You see it looks really good compared to if I just make a bunch of different things that don't go together at all. It's just kind of chaotic. There's no real like consistency to this, and it just doesn't look as good, right? But if we have something that matches all the colors, for example, this, all red, let's go to this, all purple. These look a lot better. It looks like it's all cohesive. It looks like you actually put time and effort into making your banner. And then yes, I do recommend all red banner setups for sure because they are just the best in my opinion. The reason is because you subconsciously just associate red in Apex Legends with Apex Predator, the highest rank in the game. Like I have Predator badges on here, but let's say I take them off or I just replace them with other red badges. For example, these badges, I like these badges as well. Look, if you quickly look at this, it looks like an Apex Predator banner setup. If I choose even more red ones like that, if you just quickly look, it looks like that player is Apex Predator, even though there is no Pred badges, and these aren't like crazy hard to get either. So if you do want to have like a fake Apex Predator banner setup, you can just do something like this, and it actually looks pretty good, and it just goes together really well. Then again, quickly, if I just put on like blue badges, when you quickly look at that, you kind of just automatically just think like platinum or diamond, even though they have nothing to do with these badges. There is just a lot of color theory when you're choosing your entire banner setup, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, red is Apex Predator, purple is Masters, but there's so many other options you can choose from. You don't have to have like purple or red. You don't have to do that at all. For example, if I go over to Watson, I have like a sort of like neon, retro, like cyberpunk sort of idea going on with this Watson frame. Again, that's not Masters, that's not Predator. It doesn't really associate with any rank, but it all just goes together well because you see I put a lot of thought into this banner. So you can do a lot of things like this as well and really be creative. You don't have to follow one specific pattern all the time. Be creative in what you're making. So that's one idea you can do with color themes is just make everything match, all red, all purple, all blue, that sort of idea. But the other thing you could do is make contrasting banner frames. For this example, I'll use Pathfinder as you see here. I went for sort of like a white banner setup and then I have the red badges, and this really makes your badges or whatever else that isn't the one color stand out. It works best with white trackers and like a white banner frame. If you're wondering, this is I think season 3, season 2, one of the two. It's one of those trackers, but if you do have these and you want to make your badges stand out, no matter what badges you're running, really whatever badges you run, like for example these badges, whatever you do, they really stand out against the white. So that's another option you can do. So once you figure out what sort of theme you want to go for, you want to start out with your badges. So of course, if you have any like high rank or very difficult badges to get, I would start off with that. So for example, if you have any Pred badges, Master badges, those are great ones to run. But you don't need to even play rank to have good badges. I'll take them off. If you have these to like level 100 plus, those look really good, especially if you have all three at the same time. I think that looks great, but me personally, I don't have any really high level weapons. If you have like a level 90, level 100, something even higher than that on your weapon mastery, those are really impressive, and I definitely recommend using that. And then there's the season battle passes. I find these actually pretty good, but I wouldn't recommend having all three at once because then it's just a clash of colors. It just looks kind of like chaotic. It looks like RGB puke, if that makes any sense. Some other impressive badges, you can run a 4K 20 if you want. So where is it? 4K 20, those are pretty good, except I do find that a lot of players have started using 4K 20, so it kind of makes you just blend in with every other legend. Then again, if you're really proud of it and you want to show it off, by all means, show it off. I'm not saying don't do it, but if you want to look different from the rest and really stand out, 4K20 might not be the best. Then the event badges, there's so many to choose from. I here have 107, but there's probably at least 200 in the game. I'm missing a lot of them. There's just a ton you can choose from. And if you can find some of them that are very old or that are very difficult to get, I would definitely recommend that, because I just find not many people use them. And if you have a very old one, either players that remember that badge are going to say, wow, that's old and that's pretty cool. Or there's people that probably have never seen it before, which in that case, they'll also find it cool because they've never seen it. For example, Fight or Fright, this is an old badge. The 2020 badges, any just old badge in general is great to run. Okay, one thing I really wish they did more of is animated event badges. This is the only one I have. This really looks nice in my opinion, but that's the only one in the game, or at least the only one that I have. So yeah, in my opinion, if they start adding more animated event badges, those would be great ones to go for, and it would just be really cool. Come on, EA, just add this to the game. More event badges that are animated. That'd be amazing. Then the club badges, these aren't crazy. I mean, this one is kind of impressive, 100 full squad clubmate wins, but it kind of looks boring. Like, that doesn't stand out at all. Yeah, then arenas, you can run this one. This one's not bad, it looks kind of cool. This one, if you have a high arenas win streak, that's a great one to run, especially if you have like a maxed out level 100 arena win badge. That is very impressive. Not many players have that. For your account badges, I mean, there's not too many great ones. This one's kind of cool because it's only available, I think, the first Valentine's Day, so that could be a good option. So yeah, I do run that on my Watson skin, and I think it looks really good. I kind of like that pink. It's not like any other badge in the game, so that's something I do like running. So yeah, I am saying this, but at the end of the day, this is a video game. Just play this game for fun. That's all that really matters. That's what video games are for. And yeah, I'm showing you how to make sweaty badges and sweaty banner frames, but really, if you don't want any of that, don't worry. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But if you do want a sweaty banner, you want to show it off, stick around. The other thing I recommend doing is choosing very large and animated badges. You gotta think about it. If you're beside a player that has like super large animated badges like that, they're immediately going to draw in attention, compared to if you have badges like this. It just doesn't stand out at all. It doesn't call in any attention at all. So I do recommend having large animated badges. But then again, if you want it to look good, make sure it kind of color matches. Don't have like something like that. That doesn't look great. Just have something that goes together well. So yeah, the more space your badges take up, or at least one of your badges in my opinion, you don't need all three to do this. So for example, I really like this. This badge looks really cool in my opinion. So I'll choose something like that, and then I'll grab two other badges that kind of match the theme. For example, these two look great and they match the theme. So this is one example you could do. You have one badge that is animated, is very large and like draws in your attention, and then two others just kind of support it. Then in terms of how you position your badges, you can either have your largest and the one that you want people to focus on either in the center or put it on the top. It's your personal preference. It doesn't really matter, but I think these look the best. They just look the most balanced compared to if you put it at the bottom. It just kind of looks off. It feels like something's missing, if that makes any sense. Again, I want to state, you don't need any hard, difficult to get badges at all. It's just, that's a bonus for sure, but you don't need them. Then after your badges, you want to go over to your trackers. You want to choose very large numbers. For example, apex damage, stim distance traveled, passive health regenerated. They're naturally just very high numbers. And if you quickly look at this banner, you're probably thinking, wow, this guy spends a ton of time on Octane. But in reality, I don't play him very often. If you look, I only have 1,800 kills on Octane, which I mean, it's not a little bit, but compared to other players in the game, that's like almost nothing. So even if you don't have that much time spent on a legend, if you just choose the numbers that are the largest, if people quickly glance at it, it looks like you play the legend a lot. And there's also one thing with these trackers that I absolutely love, at least for the stim distance traveled and the passive health regenerated. I also think it works for the damage as well though. So if people are spectating you in game, so your banner's like on that right side of the screen, if you know what I mean, when they're dead and they're watching you, these numbers will automatically go up as you like build on them in the game. So if you're stimming around and you're automatically regenerating health, people will see that number going up as they watch you. And in my opinion, it just looks really cool just seeing it being more like animated. Then going to your tracker art, put simply, you just want to have it match the same color theme you're going for. So here I have all red, pretty simple, just whatever matches the color theme. If you can, have the same legend on there because it just makes more sense. But if you can't, you can still get away with another legend. It still looks good. It just, people really pay close attention. It kind of looks weird. But yeah, if you don't have the legend trackers, don't stress about it too much. Just, it's another bonus that you can put on top. So in general, you want all the same sort of tracker because it just looks good, but there is one other strategy I like to use. That's to make one tracker stand out. For example, I'll go back to Lifeline. As you see here, I have 2 red trackers here. Everything else on the screen is all red except for my Apex kills. Now for my kills, I purposely have no tracker art, and in a way it kind of seems backwards, but it makes it stand out. Now if I put another red tracker and make it all go together, it kind of just washes your banner out and you don't have that same attention drawn in towards the kills compared to if I take it off. Now you really notice the kills more. So if you do have some sort of tracker you want to show off, I really do recommend taking off the tracker art for that one specific one, and it will make it stand out even more. Okay, one more final thing for the trackers, and this is just kind of more of like a funny option you can choose, and that is to choose the top, like the head of a tracker, and then the feet, the bottom, and don't use the torso. Put them together and you kind of get like a short and stubby legend tracker. This might not really make you look sweaty, but I think it just looks funny in general. Like, look, it looks like a short and stubby bloodhound, or I go over to my Valkyrie, it's like short and stubby Wraith. Yeah, this is less about looking sweaty and more just having fun and having like a funny looking tracker. Then for your banner frames, you want to choose ones that are very large and animated. Of course, if you do have a heirloom banner frame, you want to run that because, I mean, it's an heirloom banner frame. Of course you want to use it. You spend so much money on it, you want to show it off. But if you don't have one, don't worry. You don't need one at all. For this example, for Fuse, I have Hot Seat running, and I really love this one because it takes up a lot of space. You see, this animation goes almost all the way to the badges, and it is very, very animated. So if you see this on the legend screen, there's no way you don't like draw in all the attention. So yeah, animated banner frames, especially ones that move really fast, like this Fuse Hot Seat one, for example, it's like the Apex banner version of Subway Surfers TikTok, like the dopamine rush you get. So yeah, that's the general idea you want to follow with your Apex banner frames. You want large and animated ones if possible. And of course, it's even better if it all matches your color setup. I did say animations, but then again, there are a ton that look really good without animations. Like this one's only purple, no animations here. I think it looks great. Or this crypto one, there's no animations here. Or even this Lifeline one I have. This one's not animated too, but if you have animated badges, you don't necessarily need an animated banner frame. So most of the time, of course, you want a pose that is animated because it really just draws in more attention. Again, that's like the entire theme of this video, just drawing in attention really quick. But some legends, I actually don't recommend using an animated one. For example, Bangalore. The reason is because a lot of these poses, she's very far off in the back, so there's no like legend presence on the banner. Yeah, and that's why I recommend having a pose that really makes your legend as large as possible. Yeah, so I use Bangalore for example because a lot of her epic poses, she's very far back and sort of like tiny looking, but her blue poses, she's very up close and takes up a lot more space on the screen, and I think it looks better. So you can follow all of that, or you can just make some sort of general theme. So again, I did like a devil theme for Lifeline, and then I have like a retro wave theme for Watson. So those are other options you can go for. Okay, so all this was about making your legend banner sweaty, but there is one other thing I want to talk about, and that is what I like to call the incognito or anonymous banner setup. So one option is to do something like this, where you have no badges and no trackers whatsoever, and this way people basically have no idea what your actual skill level is. So if you're like a Masters Apex Predator player, this is great if you just want to kind of not have expectations put on you, because people see no badges, they have no idea what to think. Or if you're like a silver or gold player and you're not the most proud of your rank, just have no badges on whatsoever, and people have no idea what your actual skill level is. And the other thing I like to do is just run an all bronze setup. It's the same sort of idea, just being like not showing people what your actual rank or like where your actual achievements are, but it's just something funny you can do. It's another option if you're looking for different ways to make your banners. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video.